Today you buy a computer on wheels that panics if a little water falls on it. But before 2008, engineers designed for eternity. Those modern SUVs have an expiration date shorter than a carton of milk. However, these 14 cast iron legends ignore the passage of time. They are real steel tanks that you can repair with a wrench in the middle of the desert. Today, we rescue machines that refuse to die and humiliate any new model. Let's begin. Number 14, Suzuki Vitara / Sidekick first generation. We start with a vehicle that many confuse with a toy due to its compact dimensions, but which hides one of the most robust chassis ever manufactured for its size. The first generation Suzuki Vitara, sold in some markets as Sidekick or Tracker, is the perfect example of why you should not judge a book by its cover. While modern off-road vehicles in this segment are unibodies derived from compact cars, the Vitara was built on a ladder frame chassis exactly like a heavy-duty truck. This architecture gives it structural rigidity that allows it to withstand decades of off-road punishment without the body deforming. Under the hood, we find 4-cylinder engines that are the definition of Japanese simplicity. Whether it's the 1.6-liter 8-valve or the later 16-valve, these are machines that do not know fatigue. They do not have complex direct injection systems or variable geometry turbos that can fail. It is pure mechanics. What makes the Vitara a true survivor is its lightness combined with a manual transmission and a mechanical transfer case. Weighing so little, the suspension and steering components do not suffer the accelerated wear we see in today's enormous trucks. It is common to see examples from the 90s exceeding 300,000 kilometers with the original engine without having received more than oil and belt changes. It is a vehicle that was designed to be abused on rural roads in Japan and ended up conquering the whole world due to its inability to give up. If you are looking for something economical, small but virtually indestructible, this is the gateway to the world of real resistance. Number 13, Nissan Pathfinder WD21. Before the Pathfinder became a 3-row family SUV with a continuously variable transmission, it was an authentic desert warrior. The generation known internally as WD21 is a reminder of when Nissan competed head-to-head with Toyota for durability supremacy. Based on the platform of the legendary hardbody pickup, this SUV was designed to withstand systematic abuse. Its most famous heart is the 3-liter V6 engine known as VG30. This block is an old acquaintance of the brand, used even in sports cars, but adjusted here to deliver low-end torque and, above all, to resist extreme heat and long working days. The block is made of cast iron, which gives it a thermal stability that modern aluminum engines simply cannot match. It's a truck that you can drive through a river, cross a sandbank, and then take on the highway without it emitting a single complaint. The robustness of the Pathfinder WD21 also lies in its 4-wheel drive system. It's an old-school system with manual or automatic locking hubs that feel solid to the touch. There are no electronic buttons sending signals to a module. Here, there are real levers and gears connecting to each other. Owners of these machines often report that although the interior may begin to show the passage of the years with creaky plastics or worn upholstery, the mechanics remain undisturbed. It is one of those SUVs that, if you give it basic maintenance, will accompany you until the end of your days. Number 12, Jeep Cherokee XJ. If there is one vehicle on this list that has cult status for its toughness, it is the Jeep Cherokee XJ. Produced for almost 2 decades with very few structural changes, this vehicle defied all conventions of its time. Despite being one of the first designs to use a semi-unibody structure, Jeep managed to create something that is as tough as a tank. But the true secret to its immortality is not just in its chassis, but in what lives under the hood. We are talking about the legendary 6-cylinder inline 4-liter engine. This engine is considered by many mechanics to be one of the best ever built in the history of humankind. It is an overhead valve design that prioritizes durability over any other metric. It is not the most fuel-efficient engine, and it is certainly not the quietest, but it is capable of operating under conditions that would destroy any modern engine in a matter of minutes. There have been documented cases of Cherokees running almost without oil, with a failed cooling system, or after having ingested water, and still, the 6-inline continues to start at the first turn of the key. Accompanying this engine, we usually find the AW4 automatic transmission manufactured by Ice & Warner, the same company that supplies components to Toyota. This combination of an American iron engine and a high-precision Japanese transmission created a synergy of reliability that has rarely been repeated. The Cherokee XJ is boxy, noisy, and Spartan, but it is a survival tool. It is the type of vehicle you buy when you know your life may depend on the engine starting on a morning at 20 degrees below zero in the middle of nowhere. Number 11, Mitsubishi Montero/Pajero 2nd Generation. We end this first section with the Queen of the Desert, the SUV that humiliated its competitors in the toughest rally in the world, the Paris-Dakar, year after year. The second generation of the Mitsubishi Montero, also known as Pajero or Shogun, represents the peak of Mitsubishi engineering before the brand decided to focus on more urban vehicles. What separates the Montero from almost any other SUV of its era is the level of over-engineering in its traction system. They introduced the Super Select system, which allowed the driver to switch between rear-wheel drive, permanent four-wheel drive, and four-wheel drive with a central differential lock while the vehicle was in motion. It was a technology ahead of its time, but built with such robustness that it rarely failed. The four-cylinder 2.8-liter diesel engines, or the V6 gasoline engines, were designed to work in global markets where fuel is often of poor quality and mechanical workshops are conspicuous by their absence. The Montero's suspension components are massive, designed to absorb impacts that would bend the control arms of a modern SUV. It is a vehicle that conveys a feeling of absolute solidity. When you close the door, the sound is dull, as if you were closing a safe. It is not just a means of transport, it is a statement of mechanical principles. A well-maintained 90s Montero is not a relic, it is a guarantee that you will reach your destination no matter how broken the road is. Number 10, Isuzu Trooper/Monterey. When we talk about Isuzu, we talk about a brand that does not manufacture machines to impress at traffic lights, but to work tirelessly. The Isuzu Trooper, known in many markets as Monterey, is a monument to functionality over form. While other manufacturers worried about aerodynamic lines, Isuzu maintained a boxy and spacious design that allowed for unparalleled peripheral visibility. But its true strength lies in what is not visible to the naked eye. Isuzu is, first and foremost, a manufacturer of industrial engines and heavy trucks. That mentality was directly transferred to the Trooper. The 3.2-liter V6 engine and the later 3.5-liter are units that seem to have been designed for an electric generator or a small boat due to their ability to maintain a stable temperature under constant load. Its internal components are massive compared to current lightweight aluminum engines. In addition, in international markets, the 3.1-liter turbo diesel engine became a legend in agriculture and mining for its ability to run on low-quality fuels without catastrophic failures. The Trooper's chassis is a piece of engineering that today would be too expensive to produce for a mass-market vehicle. The steel frame rails have a thickness greater than the average for its class, which prevents metal fatigue even after decades of driving on dirt and stone roads. It is common to find examples with 500,000 kilometers that still retain their factory structural integrity, without parasitic noises or misaligned doors. It is a tool of mechanical precision designed by a brand that understands that the greatest luxury on the road is the certainty that you will reach your destination. Number 9, Toyota 4Runner 2nd and 3rd Generation. It is impossible to talk about automotive immortality without mentioning Toyota, but the second and third generations of the 4Runner occupy a special place in the pantheon of resilience. The second generation is remembered for its iconic design and its electric glass tailgate, but it was the third generation that perfected the formula for urban and rural indestructibility. Built on the base of the Hilux pickup, this SUV inherited the DNA of the vehicles that the Red Cross and the United Nations use in the most conflict-ridden areas of the planet. The 6-cylinder 3.4-liter engine, known as 5VZEFE, is one of the most reliable pieces to come out of a Japanese assembly plant. It is not a powerful engine by modern standards, but it is an engine that has no known weak points. The cooling systems are over-engineered, the sensors are Spartan in their simplicity, and the electronic management is so conservative that the engine never works under real stress. The 4Runner of these eras has a characteristic that enthusiasts value above all else: the quality of its materials. The steel used in its bodywork had a galvanic treatment that made it extremely resistant to corrosion compared to its rivals of the time. Inside, the switches and controls have a mechanical feel that seems to tell you they will work for another 100 years. Driving one of these SUVs is feeling a direct connection with the mechanics. There are no unnecessary electronic filters, just you, the engine, and a traction system that has rescued thousands of drivers from impossible situations. Number 8. Chevrolet Suburban 9th Generation GMT 800. To understand the 9th generation of the Suburban, manufactured under the GMT 800 platform, we must forget everything we know about modern General Motors plastic products. This was the last great era of American SUVs built with an over-dimensioned philosophy. The Suburban is not just a large SUV, it is a battleship designed to transport 9 people and tow a 3-ton boat simultaneously without breaking a sweat. The secret to their success is the Vortec engine family, specifically the 5.3-liter and the 6-liter engines. These engines use a cam and block architecture dating back to the mid-century but refined to the extreme. By not having complex variable valve timing systems or multiple turbos, there are very few things that can go wrong. The cast iron block of these units is practically eternal. These engines are so resistant that they have become the standard for mechanical transplants worldwide. When someone wants an old car to be reliable, they install an engine from a Suburban. But the resistance of the GMT 800 does not stop at the engine. Everything in this vehicle is big, the brakes are massive, the radiator looks like it was taken from a fire truck, and the differentials are designed to withstand torque levels that would destroy the transmission of any modern SUV. It is a truck that was built for American families crossing the continent from coast to coast every summer, facing the Arizona heat and the Colorado mountains. If you are looking for the definition of American brute strength combined with a longevity that defies logic, this generation of Suburban is the gold standard. The true key that unites all these machines, from the small Japanese to the American giant, is a fundamental choice made by the engineers of the time: the use of cast iron. In the modern world, aluminum is king because it is light and helps reduce fuel consumption to comply with environmental regulations. However, aluminum has a distinct thermal memory and is much more prone to deformation from accidental overheating. Number 7. Ford Excursion with 7.3-liter diesel engine. If the Suburban is a battleship, the Ford Excursion with the 7.3-liter Power Stroke engine is a mobile fortress. There was a time when Ford decided that there was no such thing as a truck that was too big, and the result was the Excursion. But what makes it truly immortal is not its size, but the heart that beats under its steel hood. The 7.3-liter Phi-8 diesel engine, manufactured by International Navistar for Ford, is widely considered to be the best diesel engine ever installed in a passenger vehicle in North America. Unlike modern diesel engines, plagued by complex emission systems and particle filters that get clogged, the 7.3 is a purely mechanical direct injection unit at its core. It is a low-revving engine, but with massive torque, designed to last 500,000 or 600,000 kilometers before it is even necessary to open it for a major overhaul. The Excursion uses the Ford Super Duty Series chassis, which means that its suspension, steering, and braking components are commercial grade. It is a vehicle that ignores the passage of time because it was built for punishment. In a world where modern trucks seem to be made of glass, the Excursion 7.3 remains a reminder that when you combine the cargo volume of a bus with the mechanics of a heavy tractor, you get something that is, quite simply, indestructible. Number 6. Mercedes-Benz G-Class models with 461. Long before it became the fashion accessory on the streets of Beverly Hills, the Mercedes-Benz G-Class was a pure and simple military tool. To find true reliability, we must look at the W461 series models and the first 463 models. These are not the trucks with screens and colored lights of today, these are the machines that armies around the world chose for their field operations. The key to the old G-Class is its Spartan simplicity. Everything in this vehicle was designed to be repaired in the middle of nowhere with basic tools. The 5- and 6-cylinder inline engines in both gasoline and diesel are units that operate under principles of low compression and high durability. The OM606 diesel engine, for example, is nicknamed by many as the 2JZ of the diesel world due to its incredibly strong iron block and its ability to run for decades with minimal maintenance. Number 5. Nissan Patrol GR-Y61. In the Southern Hemisphere and the Middle East, there is a vehicle that disputes the mountain throne with Toyota, and that is the Nissan Patrol, specifically the Y61 generation. If you are looking for a vehicle that can cross a desert of dunes at 50 degrees Celsius without the temperature gauge needle moving 1 millimeter, the Patrol is the answer. The soul of the Y61 Patrol is the TD48 engine, a 6-cylinder inline and 4.8-liter block that is a masterpiece of Japanese engineering. This engine has a crankshaft supported by 7 main bearings and a lubrication system that guarantees oil flow even at impossible angles of inclination. But it is not just the engine. The Patrol is famous for having the strongest axles of any 4x4 vehicle in its class. Its differentials are so massive that off-road enthusiasts often buy them used to install them in other vehicles that have broken their own components. The robustness of the Patrol is felt in every command. It is a heavy truck, but that weight is real steel. There are no concessions to lightness here. Every bracket, every bolt, and every body panel is designed to resist metal fatigue caused by constant vibrations on corrugated terrain. Number 4. Toyota Land Cruiser 70 Series Civilian and Work Versions. If the world ended tomorrow, and you had to choose a single vehicle to cross an unknown continent, that vehicle would be the Toyota Land Cruiser 70 Series. It is the only vehicle on this list that, after 40 years, is still manufactured almost exactly the same as the first day. Toyota continues to produce it because, for certain jobs in the mines of Australia or in humanitarian missions in Africa, nothing else works. The 70 Series is the antithesis of planned obsolescence. It does not have luxury carpets, it does not have complex infotainment systems, and in its work versions, it does not even have electric windows. What it does have is a ladder chassis that could support the weight of a building and rigid axles that can receive impacts that would bend the chassis of any other truck. The engines, like the legendary 1HZ atmospheric 6-cylinder diesel, are so simple that they do not have a single critical electronic component to operate. This truck is the standard by which global reliability is measured. It is a machine that is sold new today with 1984 technology because Toyota knows that perfection does not need to be updated. It is the final legacy of an era where engineering focused on absolute durability above any other metric. Owning a 70 Series is not owning transportation. It is owning a life insurance on wheels that will be ready to work long after today's electric vehicles have become recycled scrap. Number 3. Toyota Land Cruiser 100 Series. For many, the 100 Series represents the perfect balance in the history of off-road vehicles. It was the exact moment when Toyota managed to combine genuine luxury with a resistance that seems to come from an armored vehicle. Launched in the late 90s, the 100 Series introduced the 4.7-liter V8 engine known as 2UZFE, a block that has been repeatedly documented exceeding 1 million kilometers with nothing more than oil changes and preventive timing belts. Unlike other luxury vehicles that feel fragile, the 100 Series maintains an extremely robust body-on-frame construction. Its internal components are oversized. From the wheel bearings to the cooling systems, everything was designed to operate in extreme heat climates without degrading. It is the preferred vehicle of senior officials of international organizations because they know that regardless of terrain conditions or the lack of professional maintenance in remote areas, the 100 Series will always start on the first turn of the key. It is the ultimate exponent of Toyota engineering before electronics began to dominate every aspect of driving. Number 2. Chevrolet Tahoe/GMC Yukon with first-generation Vortec engines. If we talk about the backbone of reliable transportation on the American continent, we have to talk about General Motors' GMT 400 platform. The Tahoe and Yukon manufactured in the mid-90s with the 5.7-liter Vortec engines are, arguably, the easiest and cheapest vehicles to maintain in human history. They are not the most sophisticated, but their reliability is born from a mechanical simplicity that has been perfected over decades. The 8-cylinder iron block engine is practically eternal. It has no complex variable valve timing systems or turbochargers that fail. It is an honest power unit that delivers its torque constantly and without complaining. What makes this vehicle occupy number 2 is its ability to be repaired in any town by any mechanic with parts that cost a fraction of what a European or Japanese spare part would cost. In a world of plastic, these trucks are made of steel and massive components. It is common to see units of these in the hands of families who have passed them down from generation to generation, accumulating 400,000 or 500,000 miles without ever having required a major repair to the engine or transmission. It is the definition of American engineering at its best. Number 1. Toyota Land Cruiser 80 Series, the Bubble or Autana. Finally, we arrive at the throne. There's no vehicle on the planet that inspires as much respect among mechanics, travelers, and enthusiasts as the Toyota Land Cruiser 80 Series. Affectionately known as the Bubble or the Atana in various regions, this machine is the result of an obsession with quality that Toyota took to the extreme during the Japanese economic bubble of the early 90s. It was designed with a practically unlimited budget to be the best truck in the world, and for many it still holds that title. The 80 series is a tank disguised as a family truck. It uses rigid axles both front and rear, which gives it a mechanical durability in difficult terrain that no modern vehicle with independent suspension can match. Its engines, whether the 4.5-liter inline 6-cylinder gasoline or the mythical HD family turbo diesel engine, are heavy clockwork pieces. Everything in the 80 series feels solid: the door handles, the switches, the thickness of the windows. It is a vehicle that was built to last 25 years in the harshest conditions of the third world as a minimum design standard. Today, a well-maintained 80 series is more valuable than many brand new trucks, and the reason is simple: the world knows that vehicles like this will not be made again.